Assalamu alaikum. Happy New Year. It's the 9th of January 2025 today, and I've decided to take you around my garden to show you how the garden looks in the first week of 2025. The temperature here in Liverpool, UK, has been really low over the last few nights, and it's going to stay like this for the next few nights as well. Last night, the temperature went down to -5 degrees Celsius. Um, but luckily, a lot of my plants out in the garden are hardy enough so that I don't have to worry. But of course, there are limits to how cold tolerant these plants are. So let's take you around and give you a quick tour. It's a very nice day today, although as you can see on the ground, it's been snowing, as I mentioned earlier, last night and the nights before, couple of nights before as well. So here you can see all of my euphobias. They're frosted and yeah, covered with snow. They're going to be completely fine. They're hardy. I have a Trachycarpus fortunei in here. This also has snows in there, but should be fine. I've covered up my Musa Batsu and Musa Lasiacarpa, the dwarf Chinese banana plants in under this cover in here, so that hopefully the pseudo stem of the banana plants remain viable. The Ephobia John Phillips, you can see its leaves have wilted because of the cold. It's currently around 1 degree Celsius, -1 degree Celsius here in Liverpool. All of my cannas under the snow, they should be fine. Mahonia softgrass. I have a few Mahonia softgrass in this border, and they're looking really, really nice. This Trachycarpus fortunei, again, looking alright. Here I have another palm, but this should be okay. Another Trachycarpus fortunei. I put in this loco tree last year, and again, this is hardy enough that I wouldn't have to worry about. The Vigilia, they're dormant. I've done the pruning of my rose, all of my rose plants yesterday. So as you can see, they've been pruned and ready for the next year now. I've got several rose plants dotted around the garden, and yeah, that have all been pruned. This is a honeysuckle plant. I've got one, two, three planted last year, and they're doing okay. It's a red dogwood, and then behind it I have the another Vigilia, and at the very back I have the another evergreen plant. Here in this border I planted a lot of bulbs, and yeah, they actually started to come up quite early, but now as you can see it's all covered by the snow. This plant here is the witch hazel, and yeah, I just love this plant because as you can see it flowers during the winter, so yeah, adds quite a lot of winter interest. I have this plant on the other side of my garden last year, but this year I've decided I've moved it in here. Hopefully, it will stimulate the growth because these plants prefers acidic soil. and this spot here is kind of acidic. So this is one of my vegetable growing border, and as you can see I have few kale in here. They're absolutely frost hardy and cold hardy. I planted garlic, different varieties of garlics around the raised bed. Let me see. Yeah, here you see these garlics are coming up. These ones here are the spring onions. There's garlic around, as you can see here. This border, I grow my summer vegetable, mainly bottle gourds, and I mulch with compost around mid November, and they're ready for the next year now. Did take some cuttings last year of Buddleia from this plant here. As you can see, I have got one, two, three, four cuttings, and well, five cuttings in here, and all five cuttings took root. So I should be able to plant these rooted cuttings around my garden. But this plant have done really well. This is 2 years old now. This is a Buddleia, and it flowers continuously. Whereas unlike the other one, there's another Buddleia over there. This one kind of like flowers and then stops. It's just one round, one flash. Here you can see my bamboo plant. They kind of like thrown away by the wind. So I'm gonna leave it like this because this plant is quite tall, and in a windy day it tends to fall down because the pot is kind of not right for this tall plant. I have to change the pot. So I'm gonna leave it like this for now. There's another of my bamboo plants, and bamboos are evergreen, and generally you don't have to worry about them dying in the cold. They're very hardy plants. Azaleas again roasted. My rose standard. I have to give this a prune. I forgot to prune this one yesterday, but I have pruned the climbing rose, City of York. This flowers. This generates white flower and is very resist tolerant variety. So I pruned this yesterday, ready for the next year. I have another John Phillips in here, Euphorbia John Phillips, and as you can see, it's just the leaves are very droopy because of the cold, but that should be fine. They're hardy enough. Covered one of my smaller Trachycarpus. So there's two Trachycarpus in here. I've covered them with this bucket to protect them from the cold. So as you can see, um, is is if you've got smaller palm trees that you need to protect, you can use those buckets to just cover them up, and yeah, they will protect it from the snow and ice. Hopefully, there's another Euphorbia grabia, and it's doing absolutely fine. My Daphne. This is one of my Daphne plants that I have in the garden. This is the oldest, and yeah, they're absolutely fine. Olive tree, as you can see, it's kind of like tilted in one side because I tend to get a lot of wind from this direction. This is kind of like the northeast. So northeast, all the winds comes in through that direction and it hits this olive tree. That's why you can see a lot of the branches are kind of like tilted. We've had a lot of storms recently as well. This is a new addition to the garden to add some more interest. It's a wind spin. So here I have another bamboo and some strawberry plants in here. Inside the dome, I have put my cordylines in there, and then I have a bay leaf as well. So yeah, here I've kept a few of my euphorbia softgrass seedlings. Also, this is a cordyline, Phoebe dazzler. This cordyline australis is also in here, protected from the ice and snow. So this one is another palm that I bought recently. All right, it's the bay leaf. These are my red hot pockers, and that should be fine. I actually grew them from home. These were planted last year, and they've grown, they've settled nicely. In this section, I have few geums that I grew from seed. Hopefully, they will survive. They're kind of like covered. They're under the snow now, so they should be fine. I think there's another evergreen plants. There's some a Manada patch in here that I grew again from seed last year. I bought some fern, so there's five fern in here that I need to plant out. I haven't planted because obviously there's no point planting in the winter. But yeah, I just left it in here. They should be okay because they're hardy enough. It says they're hardy down to -15, so hopefully should be alright. These ferns are planted in the ground, so they're okay. Hopefully, this is a Mahonia, but these are different variety. This is one of the. This is kind of like I think 2 years old now. This Mahonia, and then Fatsia again. They were planted at the same time. My fig tree again went dormant. There are a few figs still left, but I don't know. I think they're gonna be dropped. Another Fatsia japonica, and few more of the Fatsia japonica. Here I have three fuchsia. They are supposed to be hardy fuchsias, so we shall see if they survive the cold. This is a moped hydrangea that I planted last year. Surprisingly, it's still keeping the leaf. They're supposed to go dormant. They're supposed to lose all their leaves, but still has the leaves on its own. We shall see going forward. This is a schemia, and there's some rhododendron, a couple of them, alongside the Vigilia. And in this raised bed, I have a pear tree. It has quite a lot of buds. Hopefully, we'll get some pear next year. And again, I planted a lot of garlic around this border. Got a couple of chard plant. The state of my wheelbarrow is solid, frozen solid. More garlics planted in this border as well. and some elephant garlics coming up. Cherry tree, I can see a lot of buds forming. Hopefully we'll get some cherries as well next year. And this raised bed did plant some yacon, and as you can see, I cut off the yacon plant right back because obviously they're not cold hardy. But I haven't actually harvested the yacon underneath, so I'm not sure if they will still be good enough under the soil. We shall see. I'll do that maybe in a day or two. It's a hydrangea microphylla in here, and then this is a sarcococcus. Produces flowers that are very fragrant. Here I have some tree lily bulbs underneath, and also some hostas. This Mahonia is doing okay. So these are flats. These are very cold hardy. Um, these are lovely in salads, as I've mentioned in a lot of my previous videos. But I also grow these plants for winter interest as well. As you can see, it's in this water and it produces this long stem like Brussels sprout plant. But they just add quite a lot of winter interest. I think just look lovely in this snow and in the sunny day. Back here is my strawberry border, but obviously these are now dormant. I'll have to cut back the leaves, I think, to allow for the new leaves to come up. Here I had my tree dahlias. I cut it back, but I haven't cut it back all the way. I think be I should be cutting it back right to the ground level. But in this cold, I hope they will come back next year. I had another tree lily in here. This was a ricinus plant that I started from seed. These are annual, so these I didn't expect them to survive the winter. Angel's trumpet plant that I grew from seed. This was one of the winter flowering one. In this bed, I have some chards under the net and also some mustard plants. Here again, I have few spring onions dotted around and some foxglove, volunteer foxglove plants. They're now covered with the snow. This is a Nandina, and yeah, it's just grown so much in the last couple of years. It's doing really well. This is my apple tree. I need to think about pruning this plant. In this border, I have the chive that you can see, and also had some mustard, but they're obviously now covered with the snow. It'll be interesting to see if they survive. So in this cold frame I built last year, and I put three chili plants, regular chili plants, under this cold frame. And surprisingly, this pot was hot enough for them to stay alive for longer than the other plants that I have in the greenhouse or around the garden. So I think this is kind of like a microclimate. It's a little bit warmer than the other part of the garden. As you can see, these plants still, the stems are still green. So if I want to overwinter them, I still have time. I think I can overwinter them, but I'm not going to because I like to start regular chili plants from seed every year. So my herb border, these are lavenders, frosted off, few different herbs in here, lemon balm, and then again another lavender patch. bamboo Fagesia rufa, and in this line I have more fruit trees, dwarf fruit trees. So this one here is an apple, Royal Gala, and then next one is not the next one, the one after is a pear tree. So this one I'm gonna be taking this plant off this year because so this was a foliage plant. I'm not gonna keep this one, but this is a pear tree. Next one is a deutzia flowering plant, and then the next one is a plum tree. This border here got a few chards, and I also grew sunchoke in this border last year. So I had two sunchoke, one in this side and one still remained on the in the ground. I harvested this one, and I probably got about 6 or 7 kilos of sunchoke out of this pot. Um, I'll be harvesting the other one soon because otherwise it's just gonna come back this year and it's gonna be really crowded. There's gonna be too many plants. Right. So some of the spare super chili plants that I had after harvesting, I just left the pots outside and look at the stem of these are completely dead. I planted some bulbs, spring bulbs in this planter, and here I have some garlics planted in this planter. Let me take you to my greenhouse and show you the state. So last night the temperature inside the greenhouse was around -2 degrees Celsius, whereas outside it was about -5. So here in the greenhouse, I'm keeping all of my tender plants. So I have these ferns, Brazilian tree ferns in here. I have three of them. On the label, it says they hardy down to -3 degrees Celsius. So that's why I'm just keeping them in the pot, and I'm going to be planting them out in the spring. I have my tree ferns in here. Again, I bought them a few months back, and instead of planting them out, I'm just keeping them in the greenhouse so that they survived winter. Few grasses around and few acer plants that I'm planning to plant this year. The acer plants are not here because of the cold. I mean, they can tolerate cold uh, very well, but they're here because I don't want the soil, the pots to get very wet in the winter rain that we have in UK. So they're just here to protect from the rain. Um, this is a Niphophia nordii. So I bought this again last year, and I had few pups coming out of this, and I splitted those pups into different pots, and they're doing fine. They're just kept here, ready to be planted out in the spring. Few yuccas, couple of different varieties, and three coprosma plants. Just really love the line on the on the leaves of the coprosma plant. So I'm gonna give it a go. They're real bit tender. They are not very hardy, so that's why I'm keeping them in here. Few cuttings in here, and few cuttings of the euphorbia plants from outside. And I have a elephant ear plants in here, and surprisingly it's still not dying. It seems to be very cold hardy, this plant. So I'm just keeping it in here until the weather warms up, and then I'll be splitting those little plants to increase the number of plants that I have, because in one pot it looks like there are probably about 8 or 9 little tiny plants that I can separate out. So yeah, The greenhouse is fine. What's the temperature now in the greenhouse? Yeah, because it's sunny outside, it's showing 9 degrees Celsius, and I reset the min max digit earlier. So it was showing minus 2 degrees Celsius, and yeah, that's the garden in the first week of 2025. So there you go. There was a quick tour of my garden. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. And also, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.